Welcome to the Shootin' the Q podcast, presented by Heath Riles BBQ, with tips, tricks, and an inside look with some of the top pitmasters in the game. Now here's your host, Heath Riles.
Welcome back to another episode of Shootin' the Q. Today I'm joined my lovely wife, of course, and our good friends Will and Katie Hare of Smokemasters BBQ team. How y'all doing today?
Doing good, man. Thanks for having us back.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we wanted to kick off this season with the SmokeSlam winners. And so I know we were going to get together before, but, you know, I think I was under the weather first, and then y'all were under the weather.
We've had a couple of weeks, man, I tell you. We took a little vacation after there and then came back from the vacation, and somewhere on the plane we contracted a little of that COVID, so got done with that, so here we are.
And so you just had a cold, is what you're trying to say.
Yeah, pretty much.
Totally.
Actually, I didn't have it. She had it.
Eight adults and me and another husband got it. It was great.
Wow, that sucks.
I slept for a couple of days, you know.
Well, ain't nothing wrong with that. Well, now you're back and rolling.
Absolutely.
Well,
Absolutely.
I've got to know, first off, I'm going to kick it off. Tell me about SmokeSlam. Y'all had a hell of a weekend.
And I tell you, I can't fuss about it. We walked in there, you know, the advantage to us for cooking that one over Memphis In May was not only was it our format, you know, being an NBN contest with what we cook every weekend, so we were, you know, in our wheelhouse, so to speak. But then, you know, not only just like I said, not only being able to cook all three, we finaled in all three. So, you know, we were the only team to not only double, but we tripled. So it was
surreal.
Yeah, that's a good word for it. I
long day.
Walked in there expecting to do okay, you know, grab a final here or there, but definitely didn't expect a final in all three. And, man, I was floored.
So I have to ask, how did you feel when the third cart pulled up?
I'll tell you what, we had just finished, and I'm trying to remember, it's kind of a blur, but we had just finished one of our presentations, and I'm literally walking the judges out the tent, and here comes Melzy in the cart pulling up and asking me what I wanted. She literally looked at me and goes, "What'd you want for your birthday?" and holds up the rib final sign, which was the third of the three. And man, I just lost control. I really did.
I was in the supply trailer like cleaning up because I thought, well, we're done, you know. And he's like, "Katie, get out here!" And I'm like running out there, and I'm crying again, like a 2-year-old.
I mean, we had already, you know, of course, they announced hog first, and then shoulder, and then to have the rib show up. When we finished our third on-site preliminary, I looked at my brother and I said, if we're going to make it with one of them, it's going to be that one. I said that rib was in 17 years, that's probably the best rib I've ever cooked. Compart ribs, and you know, I was using the same profile that I got from you that I've been using for a couple of years now. Little honey rub, little pecan rub, a few other things in there we won't talk about, but yeah, it man. And I'll be honest with you, the sauce that I've been running, that I've been playing with over the past 2 or 3 years, trying to get it exactly right, threw a little of that apple cherry habanero glaze on top of it, and man, it kicked it through the roof.
Those flavors kind of marry well with certain sauces. I don't know what it is. It's like that way with my sweet barbecue sauce and just a cherry apple habanero glaze.
The blend that I'm using to start with before I went with the glazes has some of your sweet and some of your vinegar in it, and it's got some blues hog in it as well, because, you know, you got to give them judges the blues hog or they're not going to look at you. Well,
I didn't, believe it or not, this time.
Did you not this year?
No.
Well,
wow.
I use 100% of my products.
Oh, well, all right.
100%.
Well, we were real close. I think the blues hog and a couple of other little sauce variations were the only thing we're using that weren't Heath Riles on the table this year. But yeah, that glaze that we threw in there, not only the flavor but the color, that red and that apple cherry just made them pop.
We had a prelim on-site judge come back and say that between us and another team, he said, but when we tasted the sauce and the glaze, he was like, that was it. He said that made it.
We got a lot of comments from our on-site prelim judges, which is about the only thing I miss about on-site prelim judges, is having them come back and tell you what they really liked and what what they didn't like.
But doing all those prelims and cooking all that extra meat.
Almighty, dude, I tell you what.
Is there that much of a difference? Have you forgot how much work it really was?
I had honestly forgotten how much work on-site prelims was, because Katie was the one that brought it to my attention. She set down the timeline and said, we have been doing on-site prelims for 7.5, or we had been doing on-site judges for 7.5 hours.
Well, I'm sure you like me. By the time you got to that third, you done the prelims and you done 1 to 2 sets of finals. I'm sure by the last one you were wore out, but you also probably had a pretty good spiel laid down.
Oh, I did. I was well worked into it, and that's one of the things I miss about not being at Memphis in May is when we cooked Memphis in May the past few years, we've done their VIP tour. And that gave me the perfect opportunity to get in there, talk to a group of judges, and because it was 15, 20 people at that point, but you were getting to work through your spiel and talk it out and work out any bugs you had in it. And man, it was really good for me to get my talking points all worked out before I got the chance to actually throw them to prelim or on-site finals judges, and it just worked. It worked. And this year at SmokeSlam, you're right. By the time I was in my third set of finals judges, it was, that presentation was pretty smooth at that point.
Well, the last time I had you on the podcast, you were talking about slowing down on hog and focusing more on rib.
There's a story there.
So that's why I'm bringing this up.
I had actually done that. I had actually slowed down, and we were cooking in the middle of the end of last year and the most of the season. We cooked just shoulder and rib. It was just me and Katie. And in the off season, around Christmas and New Year's, buddy of mine that I went to high school with, Jason Hill, kind of came on board and told me that he wanted to start cooking, but he was really interested in cooking hog. And I said, all right, we'll throw a couple out there the first of the year and see how it lays out. Well, we jumped in there the first 2 or 3 and just kind of got our feet wet, and
he loves it.
He absolutely loves it, and he's shown up, and a couple more friends that we've had in conjunction have shown up, and I got a full team now, which is never.
We haven't had that in years.
Aside from Memphis in May and maybe a couple of the local contests, I've never had guys that
you always having to run single.
Exactly. I always having to run it by myself, and running 3
running
by yourself, man, it's tough.
Everybody shows up for the local ones, but they also
absolutely.
That's a little bit of a headache too,
right?
Because then that throws you off your game because it's a party. That's right,
yeah, exactly.
Katie. And everybody's showing up wanting to stay late, and their friends are coming by. And
when you're going to Galax or you're going to Vienna, Georgia, or something that's 7 or 8, 9 hours away. You don't have a whole lot of guys jumping in the truck saying, let's do this, let's go. And now I've got that.
They have cleared their calendars for the year. They are so excited, and we are so happy to have them. Couldn't ask for a better group of guys.
All 5 of them showed up for SmokeSlam. And like I was saying earlier, that I actually got to get a couple hours sleep, which when you're
Never
cooking
happens.
2 hogs, 6 or 7 butts and a couple shoulders and then 18 racks of ribs.
So y'all could cook butts too there.
Yeah, at SmokeSlam, it's like I said, it's an MBN contest, so you can. And actually, this year,
I didn't know if they made it to where it would only be whole shoulders.
They allowed shoulders, butts, and this year pork collars. So
I heard they changed the rule with collars, and I'm totally fine with that. If you can cook a pork collar to make it work in that box, hey, go for it.
Yeah, if all you need is to cook some muscle and you think you can do the rest of it, go right ahead.
But I'm sure you're like me though. You're still gonna cook that shoulder. For
I still got the final shoulder in there, and I'm not cooking the collars. I'm just cooking butts. Butts are what I'm building my box with, and normally I try to save one for finals, and I bring a shoulder and a butt to the table because I like to set it out there and show them the difference.
It presents really well.
This is, anatomy wise, this is where this comes from. This is the difference, and
that's a great idea.
It's worked well for me several times, so hopefully it'll keep that way. And it worked good this year. We SmokeSlam. We didn't come in first in shoulder. We got edged out by Lance and the guys over at Poker. They had a fantastic shoulder. I don't know what they're doing.
So it was 3 of y'all in the for the hunt. Mm-hmm. So a first, and a first. So Lance and them.
Lance and them took pork. I took rib, and Marcio took hog. And I never, in my wildest dreams, would have thought that my rib would have beat either one of those shoulders or hogs. But I knew it was good. But like you said, it's hard to come out and win a major like that with a rib. It's tough. Look back at the records on Memphis in May. I mean, 21 years?
21 or 22 years,
before John David did it, and it's tough. But we did. We had a really good rib and really good flavors. I was really happy with it, and I'm not going to say standing on the stage that I expected to hear my name in that last spot, but it sure was nice to hear it.
Well, when the smoke cleared, you walked out there with $90,000, right?
92,250.
92,250.
$12.50 a piece for the second places in shoulder and hog, and then $15 for the first place in rib, $50 for the grand, and then we picked up a couple ancillaries too.
That's what I was gonna say. Y'all got first in beef.
Yeah, we had
correct?
first place
I was
beef
gonna ask
ancillary
about
and
that.
a fourth place dessert.
So y'all cooked all the ancillaries, or
Yeah.
just a few?
Oh Gosh,
No,
yes,
we cooked
all of them.
All of them.
That was exhausting.
That's one of the good things. There you go about having a full team full of guys.
Yeah,
We had the
you can
ability
divide
to
it
do
up.
it. Yeah, and we had some good ancillary runs in Memphis past couple of years, so we wanted to run some of that back and see if it translated over, and it did. That beef entry, which I'm not ashamed to say, it's a brisket egg roll, and I've done it 100 times.
we win
The
with
very
it.
first time I did it was the Invitational that year. It was in Atoka, and they gave us the mystery meat.
That's
It was,
the year my dad died.
Yeah, it is, because you had to leave. I remember that. And it was a short rib. They gave us a short rib, some radishes, and a bag of marshmallows. And I melted down the marshmallows, turned them into a sauce, grated out the radishes, and put them inside an egg roll wrapper with a rendered down short rib, shredded it up. And that's the first place I ever cooked that beef egg roll. And it hit. I won that mystery meat category there, and that's the first place I ever did the egg roll. And, man, I've been running that beef egg roll ever since.
I wish Memphis in May would do dessert. I do wish they would
Because your
bring that.
desserts.
I mean, I haven't done them in
Incredible.
years, but
They're
That-
talking
they were
about
good.
it.
That Samoa.
It was a turtle something cheesecake.
Samoa
something.
cheesecake.
Samoa cheesecake.
Yeah.
Oh, my
That's what
gosh.
the main one I used to do.
Yeah, that's-
I always
beat it.
did cheesecakes though.
You just couldn't beat them because they're delicious.
they were good.
You're thinking like me. You're looking down going, this is cheesecake, right?
Yeah.
And that's the other thing. My friends are always like, how do you eat barbecue? And I'm like, well, I really don't.
I don't.
You don't. You taste it competition morning, and that's kind of it.
If I even do that.
I mean,
honestly.
I'm
unless
like,
he forces me to.
He's like, you have to taste this. I'm like, okay.
need an
I
opinion.
get a half a bite, and then I'm like, I'm done.
What at SmokeSlam down there? What was your impression of being a first year event and how everything was run and handled and comparable to Memphis in May? And just kind of give me y'all's whole thoughts on that whole process. You've cooked both. You cook all over the country like I have.
There were absolutely some differences. There were some similarities as well, but they did a handful of things that were different. They started load in about a week earlier than Memphis in May used to, because you remember Memphis in May, we were lucky if we got the Friday before to load in big trailers. And then, it was Saturday and wham, everybody was there waiting at the gate in a line. I mean, you and I have stood in the line and talked before.
I
waiting for
waited
the
in
gates to
line.
open.
You ain't going to believe this, but I've only waited in line 1 year.
Well, that must have been the year I was standing there talking to you.
One.
We have been lucky because we have been, with a title sponsor, and so we got early entry, but like our friends didn't. But this was so much different because you were not allowed to put your trailer in. You dropped your trailer off, they took it and they placed it for you.
Yeah, we literally were not able to put a tire on the grass.
No.
They loaded in everything. I mean, from our
That had to be a slow process.
and that's I
why
had
they
this
had to start
conversation
earlier.
with Kevin Grothe earlier when he was asking me what the main differences were, and that was one of the things I said. The cool thing about it was very advantageous to the park. There was literally
A week later, you couldn't tell there was a
yeah,
festival there.
we went down. I had a friend in town from Harvard about 2 weeks after the event, and I went down there to show him just the park and the changes and everything because he hadn't been in Memphis in 25 years. And you honestly couldn't tell that there was an event that had just taken place. And if you think back to 2 weeks after Memphis in May, hell, they're still laying sod. These guys had come in with this plastic flooring they were using to protect the grass, and their forklifts never left that plastic flooring. If they did, they came in and threw some plywood down to pull off in order to set your trailers and things like that. But normal vehicles like my truck never left the grass or never left the track, the asphalt.
Wow.
They were that was a big thing.
The conversation I had with Kevin, I see how that works on a 57 or 60 team event and include a few vendors in there. But you take that to an event the size of a team, increase the team numbers by 2 or 3-fold, it'd take 2 weeks to load everybody in like that. And
well, they tried it at Memphis in May at the new park in 22, if you'll remember, and that's when or in 23.
Yeah,
23, yes.
In 23, and it took 9 teams took all day that Friday to load in.
I remember
because I was the second team.
I was right there behind you.
You
I
were.
remember.
And it took 8 or 9 hours, and they told everybody else to go back home that day. Yep. And so,
Remember.
And you also got to think too. Rain, a little bit of rain or a little bit more rain would have completely screwed that process all the way up. We got lucky this year, and normally we like to tease. It's a muddy music fest or it's a muddy barbecue fest. Well, this year we got lucky. We didn't have. I think we had one evening where we got sprinkles for a couple hours, but other than that, everything was dry.
Their hospitality tents look really nice online and all things like that.
And those were the same ones that they had set up for the music festival, Riverbeat, a couple weeks before. They just kind of, changed out the stage placement, moved a few things around, and
it was interesting. So like the teams were on one side of the park, and at the very end of the park was the stage and like carnival
area.
rides for the kids, a vendor area, and then food vendors. So normally we'd walk down Riverside, you could get a corn dog here, a funnel cake there, whatever. Couldn't do any of that. You had to go all the way down, and the food was different. It wasn't carnival-y like we were used to. It was a little more higher end food, and then they had. It was really interesting that there's a big pavilion down there they turned into pickleball courts. So you could go play pickleball. Now, do I know
Wickles
that anybody
Pickles
did
came
any
in
of that?
Yeah, Wickles
No.
Pickles came in and sponsored a pickleball tournament in the middle of the barbecue
It was
contest.
great in theory, but none of us went. We were too busy
Right, you didn't have
entertaining
time to
or
do that.
cooking or
Yeah.
They
getting
tried
things
real
ready.
hard to bring a festival atmosphere to a barbecue contest, and for what it was worth, I guess it was great for the public.
And they were very accommodating.
yeah.
They were lovely.
Can you really capitalize on that?
I'd have to see the numbers, and I don't know if
I'm
it was
with you.
worth it
I'm
in the
interested
end.
to see, what they do for next year.
It was not a typical barbecue competition. I will say that it was more of a festival atmosphere, and
I told
for
my
what
sister.
for what they did a good job of putting it on. Now,
Well, they say 10 years. They're going to roll with it 10 years.
They're definitely back doubling down on the same date, which is my only argument about the whole thing. I wish they'd move it to another date. I really do. And I've made that perfectly clear to them.
I don't think they care who says it to them.
they don't. And I'm just
Somebody's
I'm
got
just
it
a
out
barbecue
for
guy.
somebody.
Yeah.
And
There's
that's way above or below
Way all our pay
above
grades.
us. Yeah,
Extremely above my
we
pay
don't
grade.
know
We're
any
just
of that.
we are
And
thankful
my-
to be invited.
My advice was flip the two events. Do Barbecue Fest first and then bring Riverbeat in afterwards, because their big argument for using that weekend is they've already got their infrastructure set up for the music fest the week before. Okay, bring your infrastructure in.
So if you skip
run
a
the-
week in
run the
between
contest.
like that, because it was a week in between,
Yeah.
that way they could have a heck of a
And
contest.
the people that go to Memphis
can you-
music aren't going to
I
go
would
to barbecue.
sacrifice and do both.
Right.
Right.
And that's what
And
I
that's what-
that's
he
what
would
my
totally do
argument
that.
was you'd bring it. And here's the flip side to that is if you bring in 100 more teams, where are you going to put them?
That's true.
You can't.
Yeah,
I think
there.
that's one reason, and I may be speculating saying this. Maybe that's the reason they wanted to go back on the same date, so they knew they wouldn't get that amount of rising teams.
Yeah.
Who knows? I don't really know the answer to that one.
I don't know that anybody in this room or in this city knows the answer to that. To be honest with you,
Well, we
somebody
are.
does.
We are in DeSoto County right now.
Oh, okay,
That's
so
true.
we're safe.
DeSoto County knows what's going on.
Exactly.
For sure. So, do you have any big plans with your prize money?
Oh, we've done a few things. Upgraded some cookers and fixed a few things that needed fixing, and ran some power at the house. I keep both my big rigs at the house and kind of off to the side of my house, and I've been running 110, little stringly, little small extension cords back there for years, and popping breakers every other week.
I'm so tired of seeing
I now have-
electricians. They know me by name. They know the dogs by name. And now we have dedicated
So
now
you
have-
put in some 50 amp
I now have
services.
50 amp service on the
Just
other
for
side of my
those
house,
two?
and that was.
You do 2 of them?
I did 2 of them. One for my, because I've got my RV that I cook out of most of the year, and then my cook trailer that I cook out for the big festivals. And I've got both plugged in now. And it's nice. I don't have to worry about running down blown
Would you build a
circuits
pole
and all
barn
that
too to
stuff.
back them under?
I have
Yeah,
not
that's-
done that
that's-
yet.
That's the next quote I'm
we're
getting.
looking at it. We're
I'm
looking
so
at it.
excited.
I got some guys.
Do you?
All right,
I'm
there we go.
sure you do. I've seen the pictures of your new place out here. I'm
It's
anxious
coming
to see what it
along.
looks like.
It's coming along. It's getting
A
there.
stressful face right
It
now.
is.
For
I'm gonna
me.
tell you something.
Construction
They
is always
call
a
and they're like,
stressful
I needed
phase.
you to pick out these countertops last week. We're ready for them.
And you're like,
Oh, well, nobody told me. Okay, I'll get right on that.
I need the light fixtures now.
Yeah, I need them now.
well, and I get that from him. I'm like, he's like, well, didn't you do this? And I'm like,
Nobody told me.
I'm not a mind
I've never done
reader.
this before.
right? I mean, this is barbecue. And it's so funny.
Such a horrible problem to have to figure out how to spend all that money.
It's a thing, though. It's totally a thing.
Well, I'm sure you got to be smart about it.
Definitely.
Oh, yeah.
We're our biggest concern right now is something we've never had to contend with before is the tax implications on a prize purse that big. I've never had to, I've always just been able to
show the deficit.
Show the income and show the outflow. I don't know if I can show outflow for $92,000. At least I don't know if I want to in 365 days.
It's going to pay for the rest of the season, which is something we've never been able to do. We've nice. We've been able to prepay competitions, and barbecue people, we pay the week before, or we walk up
2 weeks before.
Well, we walk up to the organizer the day of and say, "Here's my check. Thank you so much for waiting." Because we're going from contest to contest, hoping we make enough money for the next one.
And my biggest, and I've said this 100 times, is the coolest thing about it is going to be able to compete in competition barbecue and not be in my pocket every weekend. The barbecue winnings are actually going to pay for barbecue for a little while. So,
but you never make money on it.
I'm anxious to see that.
Not really at the end of the day, between wear and tear on trucks and everything like that, and the right maintenance and trailers, and we know that these trailers are not built like we run with them. Because you're up to cooking how many events a year now?
I'm in the 20s.
In the 20s.
Mid to low 20s, yeah.
And so going up down the road, these bridges and these highways, there's always something that messes up. I mean,
And I'm
happy if I can get home with home from a barbecue contest on the same set of tires that I left for the barbecue competition on.
I know in every region where I can find a tire store now, and I know what to ask for, which is, I don't know anything about cars, and I know it's a thing.
Well, I can tell you that Houston has 24-hour tire shops if you ever need one.
Nice.
Very good to know.
And if you go to Houston,
not
you're
good to have to find out, but
it's almost like a racket. It's almost like a racket.
Totally
in Houston.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
We got to Grenada last week, and I'm running the dually for the first time in ever. It's the first dually I've ever owned, and we pulled off in the gas station at Grenada late Thursday night because we went up the night before to get ready for Friday, and I got out and filling up the gas in the generator and looked down, and the outside dually tires it's just sitting there wobbling. There's no air in it at all. So
I'm like, how did we get from Memphis to Grenada and not know this?
Well, I'm sure
you really don't realize it on a dually.
Yeah.
And that was the thing. If
that's
we
the
would
good
have
thing
noticed
about
on
a
the
dually.
other truck, and we would have been on the side of the road, and he would have been laying on the ground, and because we've done that in the middle of the night. We've been on the side of the road, laying on the ground, replacing a tire.
I think we've all done that with impact guns and everything else. I know.
I didn't know we needed all this extra equipment.
Back in the days of T-handles and bottle jacks.
I mean, I got it down to a science at one point where we could be back on the road in about 7-8 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we're not there. We're like 25, but I'll take it because the first time I think it was an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't know where the spare tire was on the camper.
That was the situation. We had to learn where they.
And then you have to YouTube how to get it off.
I knew where it was,
Google,
but how to
YouTube.
get it down was a. I crawled up underneath it with an impact, expecting to unbolt it from the underside of the RV, and it's got a a cable system,
cable.
just like on the trucks now. And I just had to find out where that went to the side. It just took forever,
It was
but
crazy.
That is wild.
now you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. So I'm assuming you are going back to SmokeSlam next year to cook.
More than likely, yeah. It would take a pretty big reason for me not to. It's no surprise. I think it's well known that we one of the biggest decisions we made one of the biggest factors in our decision to go this year was the fact that that's where our sponsors wanted to go, and so they're on board again for next year. Have absolutely said that they want to go back. So that's more than likely where we're going to end up.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. It's all barbecue at the end of the day, as long as it's good promotions of all
and
that.
It's in our wheelhouse. It's the Indian style of cooking, and we do that 20 other weekends a year. So it was just another weekend, which was nice.
So you won a golden ticket to the World Food Championships.
Two
as
of them
a part
actually.
Of that
yeah, we took one for the first place beef entry in ancillaries, and one for the first place ribs. So we got two.
So have you ever been to the World Food?
I've never done World Foods before, so this is going to be a challenge. I've got to decide. I got to look and make some decisions as to whether or not we're going to do it or not.
It's very different.
Yeah, we want to, and like you said, the format is wildly different from anything we've ever done before.
It's probably even different now compared to when we did it. Honestly, I think it's completely different. So
I think it's still well organized like that.
Oh yeah, it's just I think it's completely different. It's changed through the years. I'm sure for the better.
Yeah,
as they worked out the kinks and stuff.
I'm sure it's something that's evolving just like everything.
It'd be hard for me not to go cook barbecue there versus beef. Ben's the cook of a.
I would. I'm fairly certain that
because in barbecue you cook a brisket if you wanted to.
That date Is
This
that
is true.
the
This is
date
true.
the same as something else?
There's
It's
another
sitting on top
competition.
of.
The last
Jig?
competition of the year is.
It's either on top of Biloxi or
think it's-
Vienna.
I
I'm
think
not
I was
sure
about to
which
say
one.
Pig
It's-
Jig
the
is what
8th
I
or
was
the
thinking.
12th.
But,
No, then that's
So-
the next weekend. So that's.
So if it's
That's
8th to the
Biloxi.
12th, it is sitting on top
Biloxi.
of Biloxi.
Yeah.
oh, okay, so it's not.
And
So
that-
we never have done that comp. Is a Biloxi comp?
Yeah,
Is it
Biloxi's
good?
only a few years
Yeah,
old.
maybe 3.
It's sits down there at the Biloxi Bay RV Resort. Real nice venue. It's an RV park, so everybody's got full hookups. It's
It's
very, very nice.
Wi-Fi.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Not something we're normally used to having at a barbecue
Yeah.
A
contest.
what now?
Wi-Fi.
All right.
Oh, yeah, because
But,
have Wi-Fi, we'll travel.
Yeah, exactly.
But they have it, and it's fabulous.
But
I
it's
can work.
Yeah.
it's not. It hasn't typically drawn a whole lot of contestants, but I think they were up to 16 or 17 last year, which is
But last year it decided who was the team,
yeah,
team of the year.
it absolutely did. It came down to it last year, and if it's that tight this year, I'll more than likely definitely be going to Biloxi. But last year I wasn't in that hunt. I was 4th or 5th down the row, and I went down and finals judged it, which a lot of the guys down there were pleasantly surprised to see me walk up as a finals judge. But,
You know, you
As
have,
I'm sure some of them would me too.
but you have to judge every once in a while to know what other people are doing and get an idea of how their presentation
I always
comes
liked
across.
that. When you
Right?
walk up there,
Absolutely.
like, you could just see the look on their face.
Oh, yeah.
like, man.
Actually have to work. You have to sell it to me.
That's it would be. I feel like I'd probably intimidate some teams.
well,
now.
because they know a lot of the BS that flies with some finals judges wouldn't fly with us.
Well, I have sat in blind judging. You know, we're going down a rabbit hole right now.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I have sat in blind judging around judges that have judged 10 plus years, 10 to 30 years. And it's like
Yeah.
that's what you're saying is the best. Okay.
Makes you understand a little bit more about
You
what we get on those pieces of
really
paper.
need to get
at
out
the
of
end
here
of
a
the
little
week.
more.
I will say I have always, I'm not going to pick one organization over the other, but I have always liked the fact of how KCBS has their master judge whole thing where those judges have actually cooked with teams and actually learned that side of it.
That was
because
one
I
of
do
our-
feel like it's very different to see that side
It
of it,
is.
and a lot of judges haven't.
Yeah, that was one of our comments to the NBN last year on they did a survey that went out that what would you like to see change? What are some ideas you would have to better the organization? And that was one of our comments was the table captain issue where you've actually got somebody at the table that pays closer attention
Right.
because I love our NBN reps. They're most of them are fantastic.
Right.
But it's impossible in a contest the size of, say, take Vienna or someplace like that where you're dealing with 60, 70 teams. It's impossible for a rep to watch every single table.
Yes.
It's just not physically possible. A table captain or a master judge, something of that situation would
Help.
help.
I
think.
agree.
Couldn't
And I'm
hurt.
sure like me, you'd let a judge cook with you.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh,
I
any
mean,
day.
I
All
would
the
too.
time.
I ain't got nothing to hide. I don't care.
No,
Right.
No, I've let.
Well, I mean, he teaches.
Well, you know, they
tons of
started the
different folks
Hog
together.
Patrol thing one time.
Yeah.
And
They tried to bring it
and
back,
I was
too.
Talk
like,
about rabbit holes.
yeah,
They tried to bring it back.
I raised my hand,
Oh, they
just tell them
did?
to be there this time because that's when
Right.
I'm starting the box.
Exactly.
And and
I
I'm
ain't got
not
no
opening that
complaints.
box
Just they
until
need
I
to be
have
there
to
this
next
time.
time.
Just don't show up in the middle of the night at right after I shut the door and expect me to open it again.
It's funny how every organization does different things because talking about that, it's totally different, but kind of where we're going. How in Houston, like you have, I guess it's an ambassador, and you
Each
can't
team.
start the box until he gets there.
Now you can tell him what time to be there.
Okay.
Yeah, but you can't do anything until he
You can only
is
cook
there watching
two
you.
slabs of ribs,
Oh wow!
2 pieces of
They
chicken,
tag
And they're
them.
tagged.
2 briskets.
Yeah,
They're
I did
tagged.
see that.
But
They
on
got to
there.
verify the tag numbers.
Wow.
So they tag it on Friday, and then they leave. And on Saturday, they say, what time, I'll be back 30 minutes before the box is due in, standing here watching you. And so when you do it, you're all cooking
Can't
without
do
them.
anything
And when you
until
get it
they get
all
there.
done, ready to go, you got to verify that number, and he cuts the tag off, so go ahead, build a box.
So it's just
watches
funny
you build the
how
box.
so many different
Kind of. I mean, they don't, as
organizations
long
are-
as they verify the tags and they standing there, and they kind of glance
and then they
watching.
tape the box shut. They have to tape it all the way around.
They duct tape it
to
where it
make
can't be
sure
opened up and
whoever
swapped.
turns it in, it can't be opened.
Oh,
or
wow.
that tape has to be the same when you turn it in.
I
They
like
look
that
for
idea.
that.
I like that a lot. Takes a lot of the questions out of the equation. A
Interesting.
lot of them.
That's what I'm saying. There's just so many different things
We've-
amongst organizations, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
that could be incorporated. To,
Well, that's and our situation has always been in the organization has always been hog. For some reason, you talk about hog patrol. You know, there's always been a question to how is somebody cheating in hog? What are they doing? What are they not doing?
I think Memphis In May done a walk around this year.
Did they really?
That's what I heard.
Wouldn't surprise me. But I mean, there's always been rumors that, so and so's cooking an extra loin, or so and so's cooking an extra shoulder.
The loin out of a hog is not good compared to one cooked in a hog.
Oh,
whoever's doing that, I just can't. I don't
understand it.
Maybe that's just me saying that's the way I cook my hogs, but
my argument too, it's always been, if I've got to do all that just to win a contest, why am I even here?
That's the one reason I finally focus so much on ribs, because what can you do to a rib?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Nothing.
You either cook it or you don't. That's pretty much it.
That's the one reason I went to the rib, and that and I didn't have to depend on anybody else, because I didn't want to be, Lord bless him, Mr. Terry. Mm-hmm. He's passed away and gone now, but that man would go cook a contest and do a hog, shoulders, and ribs, and that was all the on sites too, back in the day.
Fireman John does that. Man.
Fireman John, he does 2 categories most of the time. He don't do 3 all the time.
But he does a hog every time.
I just can't see it. I can't see it. I
Actually,
can't. It's not worth it. Is the juice worth the squeeze?
No,
so what are you
it's
trying to do that for? To work yourself dead just for that bowling
That's why we
trophy?
got away
Tell me
from
your
it.
end game here. I
That's
mean,
why we got away
I
from
ask that to a lot of people now. What is your end game with that? If you don't have an end
We've
game,
had that conversation.
Yeah, men, you've had it, and you have end games. Mm-hmm. I mean, some people don't have end games, and you're also smart about it. You're not going to kill yourself now for going cook at hog.
No.
If you didn't have that big team now,
No,
several more
if
guys
I
helping
didn't have
you,
4 or 5 more guys,
you better cooking your butts and your
we were
ribs
getting
and
away
standing in
from
the
it.
RV and having a good time, you and Katie and whatever.
We had to have a
And
come
hey,
to Jesus about it.
We cooked all 3 in Grenada last weekend. Didn't get a single call. We finished okay. We didn't get a single call, and Dustin right across from us, blue collar, he pulled in with his offset and threw a rib out there, and he took home more money than I did. He got finals on his rib. So it's definitely it's a win-win opportunity. If you're cooking, you can concentrate more on the smaller meats if you're not doing all 3 a lot of the time.
So I tell everybody when they ask me about it, you either resent it or you embrace it. You have to. When we first started dating, I thought, whatever. He barbecues, right?
She was the same way.
Yeah, I was like, he sure.
I never.
They don't understand.
I didn't know that.
Right. I thought he sure is
That
cocky.
world.
He thinks he can cook, and I'm like, whatever. And then after I was like, oh my God, he really is kind of a big deal. He knows what he's doing. And so I kind of embraced it, because at first I was like, well, I resented that he was gone every weekend, and then I was like, well, if you went, maybe you would see what it was like. And I was like,
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, but at least I could just spend time with him and see him and stuff like that. And it's so funny. My sister had never come to a barbecue competition. My sister's lived in Oklahoma since she was in high school. My parents moved out there for a while, and she never came back. Well, she's always come for Music Fest because my sister does that. She's a concert girl. She went to Memphis In May last year, and like Thursday night, the lights go down and the music goes up, and she turns around and she goes, holy, what is this? And I was like, well, this is Barbecue Fest. And she's like, holy crap, and other things. So
We've always been good at throwing a big party Thursday and Friday night. So
Saturday they bring around, what's the guy from Food Network?
Tyler Florence
comes
came
around
Thursday,
and she loses it and fangirls all over him. And she's like, I'm never missing this ever again, right?
He's a nice guy.
He was a nice guy. It was really,
he was
really,
lovely.
really good to meet him.
He brought his son and everything. We had the great conversation, took all the pictures with everybody. It was lovely. We didn't finish. We didn't finish well at all, and it broke my sister's heart. She was like, I just don't understand. He worked so hard, and it was so good.
She was she got some retribution this year.
So this year,
I mean, my mom used to call me the same way, and when I would do good, and then next weekend not win, she's like, I don't understand how you didn't.
Right.
And I'm like, well, you can't win them all. I tried.
That's my line.
It crushed Ellie's little soul. And this year, a week afterwards, she literally texted me, and she goes, when's the next barbecue competition? I might try and make it. She got into it so much, and she realized.
Well, maybe she could meet y'all at some of the big ones you do with not a lot of people at.
I told her next year we should start doing a little more KCBS because then we could go westward and see my sister.
I've tried to throw pepper in a little KCBS here and there. It just never seems to work out great with the schedule. Every year I cook a couple, but I had plans to cook the duel up in Galax next month, and I just got literally yesterday just got approved to have this hip replaced. So I'm gonna be on my back for a couple of weeks right on top of Galax, unfortunately. So I won't be there, but
I would love to go back to Galax too again.
That's one of my favorites. It really is.
We'll
I love that.
We'll all go next year.
I want one of these banjos you got hanging on the wall back there. I got a couple of those fiddles just like yours, but I don't have the banjo. What's the mandolin? Is that the?
That is the reserve grand for KCBS.
Oh, okay.
And then the guitar grand is out in the hallway.
Okay.
And that is the KCBS side.
KCBS grand.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I've granted and reserved the KCBS up there, and then granted the big contest 2 or 3 times.
It's a gorgeous, town,
and
we had planned.
I haven't been.
You started booking family vacations the end of July.
Because we can't do it any other time because there's barbecue competitions or other barbecue-related things. July is the perfect time to do anything.
I let you pick the week, honestly. So
I know, and we
you
screwed
just
up.
blame
And
it
now it's
on
been
me.
that week. Well, we had to this year, just the way that things
we
fell.
have other work stuff.
In August, we could have went in August, but we have
Well, we really couldn't.
the Ace Hardware Trade Show. That's what I was going to say. We couldn't this year. We have Ace Hardware Trade Show, and then we have the Key West event.
So that was what I was
That's
fixing to ask if you were going back to
Yeah.
Key West this year.
Oh yeah.
He won't miss that one.
He wants to go so bad. So if you need an
Unfortunately,
extra body.
unfortunately that's an invite. So
Well, you can still show up as the public and come out to the sandbar and party and all that, and you pay like $150 ticket.
I might have to do that.
And so the resort's not badly priced at all. I mean, the room's
I love
like
Key West. One of my
$250 a
favorite
night,
places
maybe.
in the world.
We had never been.
We had never been to
year.
last year, and I mean, for the money and for the food,
Yeah.
We've got
the
some
food's
friends-
not expensive at the restaurants.
Oh,
I mean,
no,
you get
it's not
really
bad at all.
good
Yeah.
seafood.
And it's
love Key
fresh.
West.
Yes.
Yeah.
The
We've got some friends that
flights
live
are
down
not
in
cheap.
No.
Melbourne, right outside of Orlando, and we go down there and visit them, and occasionally we'll jump in a
drive
car and drive down to the Keys. It's just like 3 hours. from
I would
Orlando.
love to make that drive. I
Oh,
never have made
it's
the drive.
incredible down there. Once you actually leave the mainland and get on the bridge, it's an incredible
say.
drive. It really is.
But it gets backed up on the weekends because people are going down and coming back up.
I'd more be a week. That'd be a Tuesday
Yeah.
person.
Yeah,
yeah,
oh, yeah.
no, totally, it is.
Monday,
It
you
is.
know.
You
Totally.
definitely got to pick your entrance and your exit on that one because you'll end up spending a bunch of time in traffic if you don't.
I've learned that with kids, the older I've got, and just me doing everything later on in life versus being younger. I don't want to be around the big crowds anymore on the weekends. I'd rather go to some of these places on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, whatever, and then head
So you're
back
not
home.
a Disney World kind of guy.
I'm not a Disney World guy.
Me either.
I'm
You're
sure
gonna
I'll
be.
have to
I'll go
go
with
before
y'all.
it's all said and done. But
I went with my sister last year because he had a conference down there. And I was like, I'll just piggyback and use his room. He wanted nothing to do with it. We went the whole week.
I
had
was
the best
so
time.
happy that they enjoyed themselves at Disney.
I went with my
that I didn't
sister
have
and
to
my
go.
nieces before we had
Yeah.
Collins. But now that we have a little girl, I don't think
You
we're
have to
going to
take
have
her
a
to be a
choice but
princess.
to the little beauty
Bibbidi
bippity
bobbidi.
boppity boutique. She's going to have to be.
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah.
The
And that's
Bippity
like a
Boppity
s-
boutique. I love
Yes.
it.
I wish they had it for adults. I would have done it.
I know.
I
And
bought-
it's like we're about to get in that age range.
Subject
where we gotta
change
choose
quickly.
that.
Subject
I had
change.
ears for every day of the week. I had ears for every
See,
day of
I
the
only
week.
bought one pair of
I did
ears.
I did T-shirts. I made myself. My sister's not.
so you can see how far this
Yeah.
conversation goes down the rabbit hole here
I didn't do that.
with Disney and all that.
It's so fabulous.
What other
Really good.
plans do you have this year? You're not going to get to cook Galax.
No, we're going to make a heavy run in the fall. There are, I think it's 10 in a row this year, starting 1st of September. So it's every week in September, every week in October, and the first 2 weeks in November. Of course, with the caveat being, we'll see how the points race lays out as to whether or not we do World Foods or
Well,
go to
and
Biloxi.
The other
at the
decision
very
on World
end.
Foods is we have found out a couple of years ago that going from Galax down to Biloxi, we'd go from Galax to for Vienna to our house is 8 hours. To go to Vienna to the beach for the week is like 7 hours and stay down there because what's the point of going 16 hours? So I have already a beach week planned down there for the week.
Yeah, so we
And
go
that
down
would
to-
screw up World
We
Foods.
I
go
did
down to
that
Vienna.
last time I was at Vienna.
It
I
changes
rode
it.
over and I stayed. I was there 2 days before you got there, a day and a half maybe or something. You got to come in a Tuesday, and I had a day and a half. Yeah, I drove over Sunday, had a half day.
Yep.
But I didn't drive back in it because that Vienna drive back here, that's
long.
13 hours, 12, 13 for you.
Yeah.
It's a long
Yeah,
drive.
yeah, it's
At least 12.
somewhere around in there. Yeah, it's
boring.
Yeah,
Too.
and it's
Atlanta
down and back. You're talking a day's drive either way. So
Yeah, but
we
leaving
go to-
Vienna, it's not bad at all
No.
cutting over to the beach.
No, and
That's what we-
we jumped over. I think it was like an hour and a half, 2 hours. Jumped over, and we've got a friend that's got a place down in Orange Beach, so we rent that from them for the week. And then, Thursday afternoon, Friday morning, whatever the case may be, we get up, get in the car, and jump over to Biloxi. And instead of coming 13 down and back, and then 7 down and back for Biloxi, we hit Vienna, jump over, and then hit Biloxi, and then come home. So make a big round trip out of it. It works real well.
And after 9 competitions, I'll need a break.
So is Murfreesboro falling and Louisville and Cleveland and all that?
It's actually Murfreesboro and DSU, I think, are on the same day this year.
So which one are you doing?
Oh, Murfreesboro.
I'll be going to Murfreesboro, definitely.
It is
amazing
up there.
Unless there's, unless there's some physical problem that I have, I won't miss Murfreesboro again. That was a game-changing deal for me last year. I
told you once you ever went one time.
You absolutely did.
And the people are so
and I missed the Grand by that much. Old Mark Williams and Swine Life snuck it out from under me there by a point. I think it was.
I think he got my lucky
spot's
what it was.
I guess, man. Whatever it was, he just barely took it from me. But
yeah, he told me we was going to fight when I got ready to come back up there over that spot, and I said, "Well, I'm going to tell you, all I'm
You're
going to do is ask him. They're
got
going to give
seniority on that one, I think.
He had a great weekend down there. I know he granted the NBN side, but I think he came real close on the KCBS side as well. I don't think he ended up granting both of them, but
well, that way when we were there in
because you doubled it at one time, didn't you?
Well, we all cooked together there. That's when we GC'd it.
Oh, that's right, with the Band of Brothers group.
Yeah, with the Band of Brothers group.
No, but we did previous to that win both. Yes.
Yes, I did.
I don't remember what year.
With a rib.
Nice.
And on the NBN side.
We had a really good, and I keep saying shoulder, but it was a pork butt, but we had a really good butt that weekend. And
great meat.
Yeah, it just, sometimes the stars align, you get a really good one. And
the weather was good.
Like
last weekend, there was so much humidity down in Grenada that they were fighting with the box and, all that. It happens.
It last weekend got brutal around here, though.
Oh, man.
It
was so hard.
It's so early.
It's going to be even that way for a while now.
We're used to
here.
it. July,
we're into the
August,
summertime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, my goal for Murfreesboro was to come back with it. I wanted at least one of those apples, and I would have settled for the small one, but I ended up with a big one, so I was happy with it. But I'm after
gotta
one of
watch
those
those apples; they
now,
get
so
wobbly.
It's that
on a
contest.
shelf
I don't know
where
what it
nobody
is
can touch
about
it.
it. It's
they take such good care of you, man.
Well, it's the atmosphere too. You walk right up the street, and the food's pretty legit. There's other restaurants in
17th
town.
Street's right there. I
mean, there's an Amish community up the road you can go to, an Amish store, and get cold cuts and fresh bread. And
I did not
know
that.
I'll be one there this year.
We did that. We used to do that every year. It's
that
about
was
45-minute drive.
You can get a cabin on the water right outside of town too, instead of going to a hotel the other way.
We drove past those because I think we came in the backside for some reason, but we drove.
You come in
past them.
Carbondale way, or you go up the highway and come up.
Go up to Cape
Girardeau and came over, whichever way that is. I'm thinking.
Well, you
Carbondale
do
sounds
that, but
familiar.
when you get to that stop sign on that road, did you hang a right and go into
Whether it's been a
Carbondale?
year, I couldn't tell you.
We went
Or stay
Yeah,
straight
you
through
can
all
go
the
either
cornfield
way.
bottoms and turn up a long hill?
We did that.
So that's
Whichever way that
the
was
way
on.
I always go.
Yeah.
I don't go the other way to come in through town.
No, it was
Well, no,
definitely cornfields and that big hill. I do remember the big hill.
He was like, "Are we gonna make this?"
Well, you know where all the
was
concrete like stuff is for sale at that one stop sign you
Yes.
stop at? If you hang a right there, you'll come out in front of that Hardee's
Yeah.
in town.
With the statue of the
But the hill on that way is windy and big over there. You're better off to
yeah.
go the other way straight and go up just a long hill
Little
once.
hill.
Because once you top that hill, you're good.
yeah.
Y'all
We've
are talking
never
about
done it.
hills, and y'all are talking about Galax. So
Oh, God.
those hills are nothing.
I can't
compared
say
to
that.
Galax.
This is going
That
to
Blue Ridge Parkway.
Galax. There's a couple over the other side of Tennessee
Yeah.
before you get into Virginia that's pretty rough, some of them hills.
You got to make sure you got spare tires up there because I'll tell you what, man, those they get hot on the asphalt up there, brother.
I had one
Real
coming
hot.
back from Galax, but we were this side of Brownsville, Tennessee is the only pop I've had. I never had one in Virginia.
I have never lost one back and forth to Galax. I've lost one dadgum near everywhere else, but I have never lost one back and forth to Galax.
You know the trick to Galax, right?
What's that?
You got to get up and leave there early
when
you
it's
go to leave.
Yeah, when it's
'Cause
still
if
cold.
not, no. The DOT gets out on the highway about 7:30 to 8 o'clock. And they start popping people
Really?
because Virginia law is a little bit different. They grounded Allen and them one time.
Did they really? Oh, was that the one about the interstate commerce? Yeah, I remember hearing about that.
Yeah.
I remember hearing about that. Yeah, I didn't. I wasn't aware that
That's
was
why
a
I always
Virginia
get up. I'd
thing.
get up and leave there at 5:30 in the morning going home.
Yeah.
I pull out dark where I could beat all the on that Sunday morning.
yeah.
I'd be back
Right.
home by 3 or 4 that afternoon instead of 7
We've
or 8.
been known to drive over to like right outside of Knoxville that night to kind of get a head start too.
Yeah, we try to the way up. We try to split it into
what
two.
I
half
make it
day
to
drives.
Bristol. is where I try to make it to. Right, Bristol, Virginia, and Bristol, Tennessee, all right there together.
6 and 1, half dozen together. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a good Marriott you can always park it right there and stay in the parking lot if you're in a camper or whatever. But that was
the first year I went. We Tyler and I went up and we stopped at I think it was a Days Inn or something like that, and that was where I learned the lesson that just because it's written on the awning does not mean that awning, the numbers on that awning are correct. But we tried to take an air conditioner off of my black trailer. Luckily, I felt it and was able to hit the brakes quick enough. But we skid one right underneath the awning at the Days Inn, and luckily it just messed up the cover of my air conditioner and did not mess up the awning because that could have been a mess real quick.
Seen Mark West do it.
Was that Newton, Mississippi?
And back
at
up
the Days Inn, I believe. That hotel.
I said he ain't with me.
So bad.
Mark's the other one just had his hip done. He and I got.
I heard that.
He came to see me at SmokeSlam.
He's had a lot of hip action.
Well, that's outside of my realm, but he.
Supposedly, I don't know either.
From what I understand, it's a golf swing problem, so he had to have it fixed. So.
I can see that.
I don't know if that's going to fix the golf swing or not, but
that is a new one to me.
I hope it works for you, Mark. Let's put it that way.
I don't know.
Yeah, Mark is Mark. Maybe that's golf swing. Okay, that's a good one. Well, one of the last questions I have for you, now that you've cooked Memphis in May and SmokeSlam.
Oh wow, that's a
and I'm not asking you to go roundabout. Yeah. Just kind of give me your thoughts on I know both were SmokeSlam was well run. They've well organized. They really try to provide the teams. I'm not saying
there are arguments for both sides of the coin, and that will. I'm not going to be the guy that stands up here and says I'll never be back to Memphis in May because that's not true.
Well, you just like me.
Yeah, I'm going back until I get that big tall one of these that you got. I've got a second place, but I don't have the first, and I don't have a grand. And it's
you sound like me. It's an itch.
Yeah, it is. It's an itch. It definitely is, and it's that little voice in the back of your head that I'll be back there to get it at one point in time, but I'm not going to argue. $92,000 makes that voice real hard to listen to. Sure.
And I agree with you too. I mean, man, hats off, triple finaling. I mean, how hard that is in the first place, and to come out of there like that, winning that kind of money. I mean, there's not been very many people do it, and we just brought up his name a while ago. Mark West is another one. He's won some big money at some big contests. Back in the day, me and him were cooking together and won some good money. But there's not very many of those type of contests that pay that kind of money.
No, there's not.
Right.
And they advertised it as the biggest purse in barbecue history. I don't know, and I've said this 100 times. I don't know if that's true or not, but there was a $250,000 purse all total.
It may be.
And I don't. Right. I have not done the research to tell you whether that's true or not, but I know my chunk of it was
probably
the biggest chunk.
Really close if it wasn't. I don't know.
I mean, there's been prizes that paid $100,000, for winning and things like that, and $50 for grand. KCBS has got several of those.
Right.
That's done that. Those casino cooks that Ronnie Cates used to do back in the day. He used to give away new cars, Jeeps.
Oh wow.
Darren Wharf won a Camaro and a Jeep. I've seen him. I mean, yeah.
Nice.
Oh, back in the day, winning prize money and a new Camaro.
That's not a bad day.
Yeah, that's not bad days.
I'll take that.
But yeah, it's. I really wish it wasn't on the same weekend either. I've said it 10,000 times.
That'll be my argument until somebody figures out how to make it where it's not on the same weekend. It really needs to. They really need to figure out a way to split the two of them up. And
well, that's above.
Yeah, that's way, and we've said that it's way above my pay grade.
Well, it's not even just cooking it, but you can't even go.
Yeah,
visit with your friends.
And that was my problem. I tried to get out Wednesday night and go visit with some of my friends down there, and I couldn't make it happen.
I was supposed to come to SmokeSlam, and I couldn't make it work.
I know a couple people made the trek. I think Leslie and Craig with Royal Oak. I think they got around and moved between the two contests, but I wasn't able to get loose long enough to get over there and see everybody because I did. I wanted to come see everybody at Liberty Park, but it'll happen one of these days, and they'll. For lack of a better word, they'll get their head out of their, wherever it is
Somebody
right now.
will one of these days.
They'll figure it out at some point. And I'm not saying who that is because it could be on either side of the table or it could be both.
It's probably somebody don't even live in this area.
It's probably somebody that has no dog in the hunt that's making that decision, and I don't know. But it's...
as my dad used to say, it's just politics, son.
Absolutely.
It's just politics.
That's a real thing.
100% fine of staying out of the politics of all of it.
We're there to have fun and barbecue and win some trophies and some money and, go to the next one.
Well, that's me, and I used to be the same way. And now, I just want to sell products to both of them.
Right.
So I don't really, I hope both events do well.
Right.
Really don't want to see the World Championship go anywhere. And this would be their 48th year, is that correct, coming up?
2025 will be
Or 47th year, maybe, something like that. 47th, 48th. And so you're only a couple of years away from 50. And, Barbecue Fest, they announced their dates coming back. They made money this year. Music Fest is what always lost money.
Right.
And they're not a music fest venue. So I think the other people, they run music festivals all over the country. So I'm sure they've got deals in place with these artists and these groups and, label companies.
They just released the lineup for Memphis Fest, I think last week or week before. So they're rebooting another one down in the park into this year. I think it's October. So.
Man, nothing wrong with that.
No,
I think we've needed a fall festival
Yes.
in Memphis, or I really want to see one here in DeSoto County, and the Snowden Grove Park that they've done all the infrastructure
Isn't it
to.
amazing? So
it's
nice.
such a good venue, and they're supposed to build some hotels somewhere down that way at some point.
Yeah.
And
all
so
this
when
stuff
they do
across the
that,
street.
I think that area is really going to be really, really nice when it's said and done.
It's not bad now. I tell you what, I think more people need to pay attention to the overpasses there. I think somebody got hit by a car Saturday night, but but aside from that,
have you heard anything about him?
I'm actually helping take care of his yard while he's down. But
okay, so
as
he
far as
survived.
he survived.
He's doing good.
He's out
He's
of
at
surgery,
home.
and he is.
He broke his back.
Yeah, he's
wow.
doing much better from what I understand. But I have not talked. I've talked to his wife several times. I have not talked to him since he got out of the hospital. So, but he's doing pretty good from what I understand. So. Hopefully he's back on his feet and
that's a busy 4 lanes of traffic.
Man, I tell you,
I would
and
not walk
that's-
across that street
and
in the middle of the day.
when it's not real lit at that portion of it right there. So and I far be it from me. I don't know the circumstances that surrounded him getting hit, but whatever it is, nobody deserves that. So
well, I hope he turns out to be all good.
yeah, I think he's gonna be all right.
100%. Well, you kind of answered a lot of my questions I had wrote out here. We did over the weekend, talking about WFC and all that, and your other plans for the rest of the year. So, man, anything we can do to help you along, please let us know.
The sponsorship that we got from you guys last year has helped immensely. Obviously, the Glaze editions have been some real game changers for us. So I appreciate all the help we're getting.
Well, we're working on some new flavors too, so I'm always trying.
There's
to
always something new.
come
to
up
have
with
you.
some crazy stuff. You know what I mean? So, but thank you guys both for coming on the show this week and kicking off season 3.
Hey,
Yay.
glad to be here, man. Anytime, you know that.
Well, good deal. Well, thanks again for coming in, and we'll see y'all next time when we shoot the Q.
Thank you for tuning in to the Shootin' the Q podcast. If you have any comments or suggestions for future episodes, please feel free to reach out to us on our social media channels or through our website. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform. Leave us a review if you enjoyed the show. Until next time, keep shooting the Q.